This is the User Adoption Podcast with your host, Henrik Dagier.
Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Jeff Heckler. I'm a 20-year customer-facing professional, a CS practitioner. I've been a CS leader, and I think I'm a CS evangelist in the community. I love the profession. To learn more, I'm on LinkedIn, so that's the best place to connect with me. And currently, I serve at the pleasure of MarketSource as their Director of Customer Success Solutions. This means, in a summary, I run a lean and mean startup and a little think tank within about 45-year sales and innovation leader. So a lot of great tenure and seniority around me, which allows me to bounce these CS ideas off of other leaders. So it's been a great place.
Jeff, how are you involved with user adoption?
I guess my previous explanation of who I am means I eat, drink, breathe it. So as a CS leader and advisor, I hope that I think of user adoption as a 360. So to me, it means several things. First and foremost, I got to think of it from the viewpoint of a user and who I'm serving. And that comes to me from 20 plus years ago. I started off in professional services org, so PS. So that's where that comes from. Very useful vantage point. As a CS practitioner, I think of UA and user adoption from the vantage point of how do we create customer journeys that would best maximize the customer's value, their investment, in the customer journey and life cycle. So how are we mapping out their existence with us? I mean, what are their touch points that we have planned for them outside of what they have when they will engage with us on their proactive level? How are we engaging then? Are we doing it face-to-face? Are we digitally enabled? And then what are we doing collecting user feedback and adoption metrics in regards to both raw data as well as kind of candid, true user sentiment, which are a number of different ways, of course, we can do that. But I'll move on. It's because it's also vital as a CS leader that we foster user adoption across the company, right? So the place that I work for, and that I still advocate on behalf of my customers. So from a user adoption standpoint, I have one foot with my users, one foot with my company, and really bringing those two together, which means that internally, as a CS leader, I can serve product, marketing, my executive team, research, support, everyone across the board with vital uses and adoption metrics to further their causes, right? To give them real in-time metrics that or experiences that we're seeing before research would even get there. So at the end of the day, the decisions and the actions that I make regarding user adoption are to drive the value for my customers and their investment, and how my company can honor that commitment at scale.
Jeff, what are the biggest challenges and successes you've seen with user adoption?
Successes, so we'll start there, are replicating wins at scale. I think that's been a big CS mantra, is how do we do what we do and go after growth, because that's what we do in SaaS, and that's what any company is interested in. So there are three main teams that I've built out in couple places that have been able to empower that for user adoption. That's been the CS operations team, pooled CS teams, and then digitally enabled channels or teams that serve those for our customers with the right data at the right time in the right modality. So building out those that serve our customers in the way that they want to be engaged in the moment of time with the correct information. So that in a generalization has been the success. The challenge on the flip side of that is, well, how do we do that, right? The question is, how do we provide actionable wins to our customers, right? Take away all the fluff, give them table stakes. And how do we serve that at scale, right? Build efficiencies from the company standpoint that lower overhead, maximize value from our investment into what we're providing the customer. And it all comes down to data, right? So what is actionable from a data standpoint? And CS, we've got, NPS, which the execs and company, of course, love. We've got 1 million surveys, which they can be challenged on their validity for any number of reasons. And we have all this usage data. We have call and performance management material from customer calls, EBRs, QBRs. We have voice of customer programs. We've got customer advisory boards and yada, yada, yada. So that's the challenge, right? You've got all of these conduits and pipes of data coming at you and information. But what do you do with that, right? So here's what I want to give you and your audience is an actionable win, right? So I've used CRMs, let alone customer success platforms that are out there, to aggregate what I love truly is what I call CSM sentiment, for lack of a better term. So in real time, as my CSMs are engaging with customers, or they're going through their portfolios, or they're preparing for a meeting, they can flag in the CRM or a customer success platform or a spreadsheet if we're in total startup mode, right? They can flag data, and we can then aggregate that at scale that lets us see what are we experiencing in the moment with our customers. This is a current hot topic, or we've just released this feature and it's selling like hotcakes, or it's dead on the roadside. So it empowers the CSMs, which again, that's one of my beings in life. So there's so much goodness in doing that. So you take the aggregate topics that are hot or emerging or that are red, so the good and the potentially really good, or that we need to concentrate on, and then we can commoditize that content at scale. So what that means is you take the sentiment you're getting from your CSMs, and then you produce value-driven and result-driven and outcome-driven content in any manner of ways. You can do that in a webinar, you could do that in a written piece, you could do that in a Loom video, Vidyard, but you can do that at scale and then repurpose that content for your users. They can consume it when they need to at their fingertips. And that's where everybody comes in play, the CSMs, CS ops team, et cetera, et cetera. So that's it's been something I've really enjoyed lately.
And Jeff, what advice would you like to share with people working on improving user adoption?
Yeah, I come from a background of business intelligence. So, I've worked for the big guys and done some startups around that area before customer success really came in. And I came into customer success over 10 years ago. So it's all been about data, right? I've found the need to implement generally 3 BI/analytic tools to get the most valid 360 degrees for user adoption. So that's the kind of the piece of advice I'd just like to share right now, because once you get that, you can really serve, user adoption at all sorts of levels, all sorts of scale, granular in the major massive enterprise accounts, or at scale for an SMB model of 100,000 accounts, which I've done in the past. So you overall have your product usage in a big bad BI platform that's out there, but then you need to break that down, right? So generally, I found that we can then take the account and user adoption metrics from the account level and the users themselves, and then analyze that through a BI platform. You get some good visualization, you get some analytics at scale. You can start to compartmentalize the 3 important things that happen in user adoption. It's the main features and functions that are out there in your space, in most of your customer profiles, and then it's those features that you really win on. So your featured features, as it were. So the things that differentiate you in the marketplace, and you want to look at that. And then you want to look at, there are generally 2 metrics. There are 2 features that all users show that they're going to be sticky, they're going to grow with you. And that's an import of data and an export of data, which also could be bad. And then integrations, right? Are you actually embedded in their workflows? So those are things that you want to analyze using the tools. And then at the third level on the analytic tool space is really getting a nice, sharp tool that at a very presentation quality and analytic level can give you analysis on user adoption. And you can really take that and take that data, and then you cross over into storytelling and really build out conviction with your customers, with your company, and give them the why behind what is going on, and then how to move that forward.
Jeff, where can we learn more about user adoption and your work on the subject?
Sure. Quite active on LinkedIn and a number of customer success groups, associations, and communities out there, which most everyone knows about. You can find them in all over the web. And then at Market Source, we have our website for customer success. And this month we are launching our first customer success by Market Source blog, which I've just authored. It's at a bulky 2,650 words. So there's some stuff there, and then every month I'll be spinning on that. So contact me directly anytime for anything that I can serve and help the community with. And this has been a pleasure, Henrik. I really appreciate the time, what you do for the community, and away we go.
Well, thanks, Jeff.
For more on this, visit useradoptionpodcast.com. Don't forget to please subscribe, rate, and review. And for a book about this, check out useradoptionbook.com. Tune in next week for the next episode. Thanks for listening.